Hello, hello, hello. So you want to start out modding Skyrim. You haven't done it before and you're not familiar with it. Now I'm going to skip over all these other things. I'm going to come straight down to the mods. This is your main menu when you come into the game and you want to come down to mods, okay? And you click A to go into the mods menu. Now the mod manager takes a moment to load up. Now the mod manager here, well, let's let it load. But it's software that helps you manage your mods. It doesn't do as much as we wish. There's probably some functions that we wish it had that it doesn't. It's not a perfect thing. The one in Fallout 4 is a little better, but it has one issue that the mod manager in Fallout 4 doesn't seem to have. Okay, and I'll try to cover that. But let's just start out. Let's pretend this is your first time in here and you're looking at mods. These are featured mods up top, just things that Bethesda is featuring that you may be interested in. You probably will not have a My Library because you will not have downloaded anything yet, and you probably won't have any favorites because you won't have favorited anything yet. But you'll be able to see all these mods, like the most popular, the highest rated, the most favorited, the latest. And then there's all these categories of mods. Now, most mods will fit in at least one of these categories, if not multiple. Sometimes some modders go overboard and they put their mod in almost every category, and I wish they wouldn't do that, but most don't do that, okay? Alright, so, and you can go down through these and try to get an idea of what, like if you're interested in something, what it might be that you're interested in, okay? And what you do is, in this menu, again, notice down at the bottom, you have A for details. If you pick, let's look at Peppy Moon, okay? We're going to look at Peppy Moon. I'm going to hit A. We're going to look at the details. Now, this was brought over by Master B, and it shows you the download size, which is small. And this was created by Wikwa, according to the description. You read the description over there. And, let's see. They give you a couple of pictures there to look at. You can favorite that mod if you wish, or not. It's up to you. You can download that mod, or not. It's up to you. You just hit A to download it. Now, if you favorite it, watch this. I'm going to favorite it. Now, I favorited it. And when I come up here to My Favorites, it should show up in My Favorites. Hold on. There we go. My Favorites. And there you have Peppy Moon. And you can unfavorite it again if you don't want it in your favorites. It's not a big deal, right? Your library should represents two things, actually. It can represent, for most people, the mods they actually have in their game. It would represent their load order. This is my load order. I have a lot of mods here already. Or, also in my case, this represents a lot of mods that I subscribed to on Bethesda's mod page. Okay, so I've actually not downloaded these mods, but I subscribed to them so they would appear here. And that's because I'm thinking of trying to do shows on these. I will never get around to doing shows for all of these mods, but this is one way to remind myself that I have a lot of things that I could be looking at and doing and that I need to do shows on. Okay, so this is something I do because of the way I do. If you're playing the game, though, and you're really probably just going to have mods here that you're interested in playing or trying out in that sense. All right. And most of the times it's going to be mods that are actually in your load order already. Okay. So down at the bottom, that menu, notice it has Y for load order. You hit Y and it'll bring you to this screen. This shows you your actual load order. It is a list of mods. The list is in the order from top to bottom that the game will read or load these mods in. It will load the Skyrim patch first, then it will load Summer Solstice, and then it will load Return to Skuldafn, then it will load Always Dragons. It will read down this list from top to bottom, loading these mods one at a time. Okay? Now, the reason that matters is that whatever mod is at the bottom or is at below, that is the mod that is going to be, it's going to win out. If I had two mods here that changed dragons, say one mod said, I'm going to turn all dragons purple, and the other one said, I'm going to turn all dragons blue. If blue is lower, if it's below the purple one, they're all going to be blue. And if the purple one is lower, if it's below the blue one, then they're all going to be purple. That's a very basic concept that you need to remember. Whatever mod is lower is going to win out over the other mods. Now, most of these mods do not change the same things. And what you don't want is you don't want a bunch of mods changing the same things. Like you don't want two dragon mods making them different colors, because it's really, it can cause problems. So you really don't want that. But I use that as an example so that you would understand the concept. Whatever is lower is what's going to win out. Okay. Now you should also try to have a logical idea of how you're doing your load order. And I do have a load order guide that I will publish with this in the description of the video. If I ever forget to do that on any of these tutorials or load order videos, just mention it and I will put it up there. So, but this is just a list, okay? And what it is, this list is only a list of the mods, and you're telling Skyrim to load these mods in this order. You're saying, okay, read this one, then load that one, then load that one, then load that one. You know, you're telling it what order to load these mods in, okay? This does not affect physically where or how these mods are stored. People who say that are just not understanding. I'm not trying to be mean. I understand that they just don't have the background or the knowledge to know that that is just incorrect. When you move a mod in this list, you're only changing this list. You're not physically moving the actual mod and where it's stored on the hard drive. Okay? That does not move. All you're doing is changing this list. Think of this list as a table of contents, or table of contents is probably best, because you're just ordering things in the way I want the game to load these in this order, starting from the top and going to the bottom, and that's all it is. So when you move these around, it doesn't actually move the mod on the disk. It only changes this list. Okay, so you're just changing the instructions for the game. So I want to make sure that's as clear as possible. I don't know if I made that as clear in my Fallout 4 video, so I'm trying to do the best I can, but I'm not used to doing a lot of tutorials. So nonetheless, so it'll read down through all of these and load these, like I said, one at a time, and whatever's lower is going to win out. So if you have something that actually does similar to, like if I had multiple cow mods, then whatever the lower cow mod, that would be the one that would win out. That type of thing. Okay. Mods sometimes do affect other mods in inadvertent ways, and that can happen. Now, let's see. So this is your load order and your list. And what you can do on this screen, if you'll notice down at the bottom, there's options. You can hit A to disable a mod, or A to enable a mod. You can turn it off and on. You can reorder it. You can grab it and move it around and leave it there if you want, which I don't. I'm going to put it back, but there you go. You can delete mods from here. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people will tell you you have to go through all these laborious steps to delete a mod. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. When you rearrange this list and delete your mod, it makes no difference, because you're just changing the list. It doesn't actually do anything to affect the physical storage of the mod. Now, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And I know people will tell you all kinds of things, but that's just the way it works. I can't describe it any other way. But you can delete your mod from here if you wish to delete your mod from here. Another thing you can do, if you hit the back button on the controller, now not the back on the menu, but see the options there? You want to hit the back button on your controller to see the options. You can delete all your mods. Again, not not suggested unless you're really serious about it. You can disable all your mods. Now that could be handy. I've used it before where I'm like, I just want to play, I want to go back to the vanilla game. I'm going to disable all my mods. I'm going to do a reset, which you do want to do. You'll want to restart your Xbox and then come back into the game and play the vanilla game. Okay? So you can disable all mods. Now, there is not an option to enable all mods. So be aware that to turn them back on, because disabling them does not delete them, but to turn them back on, you have to come through and click A on every one. You'll have to come through and do this on every one to turn them back on. I'm turning them off, but you get the idea. You're going to have to flip through every one. So a little annoying that they give you the disable option. They don't give you the enable option, which is too bad. That would have been an easy do. As a programmer, I can tell you that would just have been extremely simple. I don't know why they didn't do that. Nonetheless, one thing to remember is that sometimes when you remove or delete a mod from this list, okay, not always. Matter of fact, it doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen, okay? Sometimes you're going to tell Skyrim to remove this mod. You're going to come up here and you're going to say, I don't want this mod anymore. You're going to disable it. You're going to hit Y to delete it. It's going to come up and say, are you sure? And you're going to go yes, and you're going to delete it. And you'll think that you have that extra space to use again. But sometimes this mod manager, it is cruel and it does not actually free up that space. Even though it says it's deleted and you won't be able to use that mod, sometimes it does not free up that space. And it is a glitch in this mod manager. Now, the Fallout 4 one, from what I can tell, does not do that. Or if it does it a lot less frequently. Skyrim doesn't do it all the time either, but it does happen. Occasionally, you'll have a big mod like, let me go down here, like this. It's really apparent. Now, you may not even notice if it's a little mod, you may not even notice it. But if it's a big mod and you delete that mod, I can tell you, you will notice when all of a sudden you have 900 megabytes that you can't use. You will notice that, and it will be an aggravation. I'm just going to be upfront with you. But there's nothing we can do about it. Moving this up and down your list before you delete it and all that is not going to change it. It's just a fact that the game has a flaw. Okay, this mod manager, it has a flaw. Okay, we have to live with that. I don't think that'll ever be fixed. It's been going on for years. It would be nice if it was fixed, but I don't think it will be. Let's see, what else? That's probably mostly it. If you hit the B button for back, of course, you're going to go back to here, which is fine. Now, finishing our menu down here, if you look at X, you can do a search. You hit X, and you say, well, last time we used Fred, let's use Fred again. I don't know if we'll actually get anything or not in Skyrim. And we got some Freds. So we got some Fred mods. I don't know what they have to do with Fred. None of them really look like they say Fred. But nonetheless, that's how you search and you find some mods. Now, a lot of times, if you look, some of these mod names are pretty long or strange. The best thing to do is try to keep it simple when you're doing your search. There are times when you have to get complicated, but the best thing to do is keep it simple. If you know you want to see all castle mods, just hit castle. Now, I can tell you there is one thing you need to know when you do a search. The leftmost mods are the latest mods. Now, it can mean that they're the absolute newest sometimes, or at least there was a time when I thought it meant that they were the most recently updated, and that can be the case sometimes, but definitely the newest mods are to the left, older mods are to the right. So if you know you're looking for a really old mod, be prepared to scroll to your right and look for it. And that's okay, there's nothing wrong with that, it's just the way it works. This is what we have to work with on the Xbox. It's what we have. So, alright, so basically that's how you run around in the menu. Now, the first time you come in here, you won't have any mods. Let's say all this is empty. You have 5 gigabytes free, because Skyrim allows you 5 gigabytes of mods. Or, I think it has a numerical limit of about 150 It's been a while since I hit that limit, so I may have forgotten. Someone can correct me if there's an exact number that I'm getting it wrong, but I think it's about 150. You're probably not going to hit that if you like some of the big mods. You'll probably, run out of space before you hit that 150. But I've hit that 150 before because I was trying a bunch of small mods to be a smart aleck and just see how it went. All right, so let's say you want to come in. This is your first time and you want to mod. You want to add some mods, right? Okay. I'm going to take you through my load order and give you some suggestions, okay? Now, whatever you like is up to you. Remember, everything is subjective. You can choose whatever you prefer, okay? First thing I'm going to do is point out things that I feel you should always have in your load order. Again, still subjective. It's up to you. But this would be my suggestion. Okay? What I would always have in my load order, if I had nothing else, is the cheat room. Okay? You never know when that's going to come in handy or when you'll want it or need it, even if you don't regularly use it. Let's see. What else? And I mean, this is bare bone necessities. XP32. Make sure you have an XP32 skeleton. Okay? 2 things. It's 2 things I would recommend that you always have. Okay? When we come down, there's going to be, I think, alternate start I would recommend. However, if you prefer to go through the vanilla start of the game, then you don't need it. It's not a necessity. This is one that if you do a lot of the color patches remover, if you do a lot of bigger mods that do a lot of things, you may want this. If you're playing around with mods, and let's say you're not using this and you're playing around with mods and you're like me and you start seeing some funky orange doors and patches on the ground, it's time to use this mod, okay? So if you're not using it and you get away with it for a long time, which I did, but eventually you start seeing these orange color patches and you're like, well, I don't want to see those ugly things. There you go. You bring this mod in, it fixes it. Okay, this mod. Ugg Mods Manager Cat. Yes, you should have this. It is by Odd Little Turtle. Thank you, Odd Little Turtle. You should have this mod always, always, always. If you don't have any other mod, put this mod in your load order. The reason being, put it in your load order, restart your Xbox. Just trust me. Make sure it's enabled. Restart your Xbox. Then, what that does, let me explain. Here, normally, without that mod, you can only see about 80 or 90 mods in any row. Okay? That means you can only go out 80 or 90 mods in any row. Now, the featured row is always small, so that probably not the best example. But, with Odd Little Turtle's Mods Manager Cat, now I can scroll out somewhere around 250 mods. I can really see a lot more of the list. Instead of being limited to like 90, I can see about 250. It may be more, it may be less. Now, it's never crashed my game. I suppose there could be a time or chance or opportunity that it could, but I've never had it crash my game. And you notice I'm still going. I don't even know how far it will let you go. I'm saying about 250, but that's just a thought. I don't know for sure if that's correct. It may let me go farther. But you get the idea. See that? We're just rolling. Just roll, roll, roll. Roll, roll. Roll your boat, right? Anyway, we're just still going. So that mod allows you to see all of that. Okay? Without that mod, you're only going to see like the first 90 mods. And you say, well, that's probably enough. And it may be, especially at first. But at some point, you're going to want to search for some old mod. And you're going to do a search, and you're going to find that there's like 500 mods with that in the name. Say Serana. Say you want to look up Serana, which would be crazy, but let's just say you want to look up Serana. This might be a good example because there's a lot of mods and things that affect Serana. So now I can only see the newest ones. I can only see the first 90 without that mod. With that mod, though, I can see past the first 90. I can go on and see maybe the first 200 or 300. You know, anyway, it's a big difference because this allows you to go back and see older mods. Sometimes the older mods are the best mods. You know, I'm just saying. And sometimes the simplest mods are the best mods. So it's just something to think about. Definitely, I would recommend. Now there, I've hit the end. That's all I could find for Serana here. And what he has to do with Serana, I have no idea. I'm sure we all recognize him from Dragon Age. Nonetheless, and what the rabbit has to do with it, I have no idea. Anyway, so you get the idea. That mod is really a super good mod. It's super tiny. There's no reason not to have it, and I don't think anyone would ever have a problem with it. Okay? So those are my suggestions for what you should really, really, really have. The cheat room and this mod at the bare minimum. Now, other really good mods that you should consider are like the color patches remover, alternate start. Definitely consider that. It's really a good way to start your game in a different style and have fun with it. You don't have to start off with the vanilla startup of the game. What else? Consider maybe something that makes your Skyrim a little harder if you're a little bored with it and you want it to be a little harder. Consider possibly getting something like the Craftable Everything series. There's like 3 of them, I think. Yeah. And what it does is it allows you to craft basically everything in the game. They're very small mods and they're worthwhile. Let's see, anything else of super importance? If you're going to do grass mods, plan on using this fix. Even some of the mods that say they include this fix still need this fix sometimes. Sometimes. Not always. You may have to experiment a little bit, but almost all grass mods need this fix. I mean, if you don't, just go to Dragon Bridge. Just load up your new grass mod, reset your Xbox, go to Dragon Bridge, and if you have grass going up through everybody's porches and through the stone wall and all that, you need this fix. It's that simple. If the road is full of grass, you need this fix. It's just that simple. And this will take care of it. And it works very well. So, you'll notice I have this mod after the grass. It needs to come after the grass. And it needs to be before, if you notice in their description, any of those other mods. So I keep this mod and my grass mods up pretty high. Same with my tree mods. I keep them up pretty high. So, just to try to keep things that way. Like I said, I'll put out a load order guide. So, if you're not into grass and atmosphere and weather, then don't worry about any of that. This is something you won't always need it, but for a lot of times it's good. But I won't say that you always need it, but depends on your weather mod and how your sky looks. If you see color banding in your sky, then you probably need it. But we'll skip on past that since that's not as big a deal. So if you're not interested in any of that, then you're probably going to be interested in weapons or girls or outfits or something of that nature. So you can find, like here you can find armor mods, and yes, some of them are going to be guys, girls, everything in between related. Okay, there's a lot of good armor mods to come out and download and play around with. Anything by Nordwar, you know, somebody else is porting it, but a lot of these are from Nordwar. Let's do a quick look up on that. I would say all of those are fun and good armor mods. Now, admittedly, you do have to test it, and some are better than others, and some may suit your aesthetic sensibilities more. That's fine, don't worry about that. Some are smaller. This is a 1K version, it's 162 megabytes. This is the same thing in a 2K version, it's 230. It's going to look a little better, but it's going to take up a lot more space, so it's up to you whether or not you want that. And you'll notice Guard Replacer, this is a good mod. Now, I haven't tried 2 Seconds version, but I tried someone else's version. Some of these, there's multiple versions of. But all of these Nordwar mods tend to be, from my experience, tend to be very good. One porter I really trust is Raxinate. They do more than just porting, though. It's probably unfair to call them a porter. They're a modder. They do some of their own mods, and they do a very good job. And you may like some of these versions of... oh, I hit the wrong button. Sorry about that. And this is, well, and this is by Raxinate here. This was ported over by Raxinate. But you may like these. These are cool and fun armors. I've got shows out on some of these. You'll see these. You can play around with them. So that's armors you can do. There are weapons. There's a whole weapon category. You can look up different weapons. Let's see. Dun, dun. Well, there's cheats, of course. There's all kinds of cheats. I can't even begin to get into that. There's just so many. There's all kinds of crafting. Where's weapons? Come on, I know weapons are here. We have weapons. Do not even tell me we do not have weapons. That is not true. I know we have weapons. My goodness. They put it low, didn't they? Of course, it's W. I think they were trying to do this in alphabetical order, weren't they? Yeah, I guess they were. Alright, so anyway, let this load for a minute. One thing about being able to see so many is that it does take a moment for some of this to load. Anyway, so let the little pictures load. It may take a minute, but it's worthwhile. There's different weapons. Well, I'm going to give that a minute. I'm going to let that finish loading. I do apologize for this momentary lack of load. Oh my goodness. It just takes time for these things to load. It doesn't usually take this long, though. I wonder if I'm doing something else to, well, I do have some other things going on, so I'm probably slowing down my download speed because I have a number of things happening, so that's my fault. Nonetheless, you get the idea. These come with different weapons. Some of these are... This shouldn't be in the weapon category because it's armor, but we're just going to move on. These are some medium-borne weapons. Those are cool-looking weapons. Silver weapons. I haven't looked at that yet. I want to look at that. Draconian. That looks like it might be cool. Now, this is armors. I think these armors include some weapons, though, but probably shouldn't be, strictly speaking. Anyway, so you can look for different weapons. If you want to do something fun just to start your adventure out, maybe do the cheat room and do alternate start and the mod I mentioned down below. Make sure when you're doing new mods, when you're adding or changing mods in and out, make sure you reset the game and the Xbox, do a restart to make sure it loads everything fresh and new. That way you can be sure that your mod has loaded, or if you've removed a mod, that information has been unloaded. It's no longer there because the game has not reloaded it. Let's see, anything else? I think that's a basic good start. There are work in progress mods. I would suggest staying away from these, as so many times they're really just being worked on and there's no telling if they're good or not. Of course, when you're more comfortable with things, if you want to experiment with them, feel free. Do not download this mod unless you want to turn mods off. That's what this mod does. All this does is change your menu so that you cannot get back to the mods. So don't download this mod unless you're serious about turning mods off. Okay? Okay, so that's our basic thing here. Okay, that's very basic getting started with mods. I did not show you anything about the reserve space, but I have another whole video all about reserve space and mod space and all that. Okay? So you can find that on my tutorials playlist, and this here is just to hopefully help you get started, hopefully be of some use to you starting out. I know this is ran long, but sometimes when you've got a lot to try to convey, it just takes time. So, and I know I'm not always the best, but I have tried to make it hopefully it will be useful and help you get started. Again, if you just wanted to start off and you don't know where to start, a simple way to start playing around is to just do some simple things like maybe the cheat room, maybe this that allows you to craft whatever weapons you want, maybe a simple mod like this that increases the difficulty a little bit, nothing too crazy, and then you know, you can get into other things after that. You can gradually add some things in so that you can, you know, make your character better and make NPCs better. Make sure that you always have an XP32 skeleton if you're using mods. Just trust me on that. You will always want it. And make sure you always have this mod. So you definitely want this mod. It will help you a lot. And remember, until you reset your Xbox, until you do a restart, you're really not going to get the benefits of this mod. So when you download it and enable it at first, you're not going to see any benefits. But when you get out of the game and restart your Xbox, next time in, you'll be able to tell the difference. Okay? All right. And I tested that pretty... I'm not the only one, but I've tested that pretty extensively, and it's very good. It really does work. There's a lot of different things you can do with mods, though, so just be aware. There's a lot of fun things you can do. You can do things with horses, all kinds of stuff. So, anyway, I think that's everything for now. I will try to do more of these and do, you know, more helpful series of videos and try to help those out who are newer to modding and everything. I know since this has been added to Game Pass, that's attracted a lot more people's attention. Okay, all right, so thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day, and I will catch you later. Man, I gotta tell you, that new diet, it's working out. Look at me. I'm so thin.